In this video, we're simply being asked to solve for x, okay? So in math, typically, math convention, which is just the way we do things in math, states that when we're solving for an unknown, in this case x, we want that unknown to end up on the left-hand side of the equal sign. And then everything that it's equal to, whether it's one term or maybe a few terms, whatever it's equal to is going to end up on the right-hand side of the equal sign, okay? So it's not the end of the world if you end up with your unknown on the right-hand side. We could simply switch that when we get to the end. But we do want our unknown to end up on the left-hand side. And we're kind of lucky. When we look at this problem, we can already see that our term with our unknown variable, the x, is on the left-hand side. So we're not going to switch that side, okay? We're going to leave it on the side it is. What we're going to do, however, though, is we're going to isolate it. What that means is we're going to get the other terms and we're going to move them to the other side of the equation. And then we're going to simplify so that x is by itself. So we don't have the 10 in front of it, as well as getting rid of the other term. Okay, so what do we need to do? Well, when we have a term, in this case, plus 15, that we want to move from one side of the equation to another side, we need to perform the opposite action, okay? So in this case, we have a plus, and this is a positive 15. So if we subtract 15 or add negative 15, which is exactly the same thing, okay? So subtract 15 or add negative 15 to both sides of the equation. This will simplify and it'll become 0, go away on the left-hand side. So let's do that. So we have a negative 15 and we're going to add it. So we're going to add negative 15. We're doing that to both sides of the equation. Okay, so negative 15 plus 15 is just 0, right? They cancel out. And that's what we were trying to do, okay? So when we simplify, if they cancel, then we know we did the same thing. We just need to make sure we did it to both sides of our equation, okay? So what are we left with? On the left-hand side now, we've got this 10x, okay? And on the right-hand side, we have 20, and we have this plus negative 15. Now let's go ahead. We're going to do this in one step. We're going to get rid of these brackets. What we need to do is we need to multiply these signs. Well, when we have two different signs, a positive and a negative, doesn't matter the order, when we multiply them together, the answer is always negative, okay? So that's just going to be negative 15. That's why I said we can add negative 15 or we can subtract 15. It's the same thing, okay? The reason I wanted to add negative 15 was it's just a little neater, okay? If you accidentally subtracted 15 from both sides, it's the same thing, okay? You didn't do anything wrong, okay? I'm just trying to be a little extra bit proper, but it doesn't matter, okay? The answer is the same. The process is the same. You did the same thing. Okay, now, before we can further simplify this left-hand side, like get rid of this 10, we need to finish simplifying our right-hand side, okay? Because we have two terms that are like terms, so we can go ahead and, in this case, we're going to be doing a subtraction, okay? So let's go ahead. We've got 10x, we're just going to recopy that, is equal to 20 minus 15, which is just 5, okay? Now, we need x by itself. It can't have a number term in front of it. That just does not work for us, okay? So we're going to do a similar method to what we did up top. In this case, this 10 is multiplied by the x, okay? So the opposite thing would be to divide by 10, right? We can divide both sides by 10. Now, we know we did it right if it cancels. Well, 10 divided by 10, those cancel. It just gives us 1. 1 times x is simply just x. And that equals 5 over 10. Now, we can reduce 5 over 10 further. Okay, this is not the simplest version of this fraction. When I look at 5 over 10, these numbers are kind of small. I can quickly see what are my factors of 5. Well, 5 is a prime number, so the only factors it has are itself and the number 1. So the only thing you can multiply together to get 5 is 1 times 5. Okay, so let's write that, 1 times 5. Now 10 is not a prime number, so we can multiply 1 times 10, that gives us 10. We can also multiply 2 times 5, okay? Now, the goal of this, when I'm breaking numbers down into their factors so that we can simplify, is that we're trying to find like factors, okay? If we don't find like factors, I can write it out, but I'm not simplifying, okay? So I knew that 2 times 5 equals 10. So I knew I'd be able to simplify this problem, okay? So I wrote it out like this so we can cancel. All right, we have a 5 in our numerator, we have a 5 in our denominator. We can cancel those terms, and we're left with 1 over 2, okay? So the simplified version of 5 over 10 is 1 over 2, okay? And that's our answer. X is equal to 1 over 2. If you would like to learn how to quickly study for your GED exam online and get a new resume, then visit testprepskills.com.